How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Infinite Sports. I'm your host, Kenneth Gruenfelder, to talk to you guys about the Yankees. Yankee episode here today. To talk about Trent Grisham accepting the qualifying offer, and he will return to the Yankees for 1 year. $22 million he'll be making next year, which is the most money he's ever earned in his entire career. And there was a lot of speculation, right? There was speculation. Would he come back? Would he take it? Would he test the open market? I thought he, like many other people, would probably decline it and look to try to get a better deal because of the year that he had. And he had a very productive season for the Yankees, although the postseason, there was a lot left to be desired. We'll leave it at that. But he indeed took the qualifying offer. And now this kind of puts the Yankees in an odd spot because you have two young guys in Jasson Dominguez and Spencer Jones. Dominguez, of course, was relegated to the fourth outfield spot last year because of what Grisham was able to do. And you had Bellinger and you had Judge, and Dominguez with his struggles in the outfield. There wasn't really a place for him. And then on top of that, you had Stanton, who's the primary DH. You couldn't put him there either. And Dominguez, from what it seems, he handled it well. And when he came up in the postseason, Yankees' final game, final inning, pinch hit for Volpe, he had a double. So he's batting 1,000 in the postseason for his career. He handled it well, and now he's playing winter ball, and he's going to try and improve, on defense, and hopefully can hit better from the right side of the plate. And maybe he does have an impact on the Yankees. I hope he does. But now bringing Grisham back, and the Yankees also looking to add another outfielder, whether it is Cody Bellinger or someone else. That leaves Dominguez without a spot, and that leaves Spencer Jones without a spot, which makes them trade bait. There's a chance that Jasson Dominguez and Spencer Jones could end up being traded. Now, I don't know where or what kind of trade that would be, and we've heard different names that the Yankees could go out and try to get. Big names, whether it's starting pitching with Tarek Skubal or even Paul Skeens, or if they want to acquire a right-handed bat, because that is something that they do need. This team is kind of lacking. There's the name Fernando Tatis that is being tossed around, which I would love that idea. I would love to get Fernando Tatis. He's a superstar, and I think the Yankees need somebody like him to come in and kind of be Aaron Judge's running mate. Because it's, unfortunately, Giancarlo Stanton can't give you a full season anymore. It's not happening. And he's only getting older. So they need to get somebody else. And, if they bring back Cody Bellinger, that's great. Listen, I would sign up for bringing back Cody Bellinger or signing Kyle Tucker and trading for Fernando Tatis and having an outfield like that. Or I know there's the idea being floated around of putting him back at shortstop because Anthony Volpe is going to be out after getting shoulder surgery. So there's that idea. Even though I don't believe he was that great of a defensive shortstop, but he's very good in the outfield. So there are some ideas out there. But with Grisham being back, I know Yankee Twitter, Yankee Universe, there was a lot of anger. And there was a clip from Sports Talk Radio in New York of a caller just going off on the front office, on Brian Cashman. Why did they do this? Look, Trent Grisham had a good year in 2025. Okay? I think him coming back, yeah, I would have liked to. I was kind of the mindset, like, okay, this is how the Yankees and many teams conduct business. You give a certain player the qualifying offer, and, they usually decline it, and you just say thank you for your service, thank you for your time here, your contributions, and best of luck. And then they go and they try to, they go and they find another team, and you get a draft pick. So I really wasn't going nuts over the Yankees extending the qualifying offer to Grisham because, hey, if he accepts it, okay. Yankees can still figure things out. Or, you know what? I thought he was going to decline it. But he didn't. He accepted it. But I'm not going to lose my mind over it, okay? Because I know many people think that means the Yankees are just going to run it back. I kind of have those same feelings to an extent. But at the same time, look at some of the other things that the Yankees are doing that should make you pause for a second and say, you know what? They aren't exactly running it back because they've made changes to the coaching staff. Did you see how many relief pitchers that they non-tendered that are not coming back? All right, it's not going to be the same team. My concerns, obviously, the starting rotation is not going to be 100% healthy to start the season. But when it is healthy, it could be one of the best in baseball. So hopefully things go well there. The lineup is the concern for me. Okay? They aren't running it back with the same exact team. All right? It's going to be different. I think they are going to bring in another batter too. Whether it is bringing back Bellinger and then you bring in someone else. They need to bring... And, there's some Japanese players that have been posted that they could explore and try to get them here, which I hope that's the case because, the Yankees have had success in the past with bringing in Japanese players, and I would like to see that happen again. I would. So we'll have to wait and see on that front. But it's not the end of the world with Grisham. Trent Grisham, he's not going to have the same year that he had in 2025, but I don't think he's going to be the Trent Grisham that we saw that was the fourth outfielder in 2024 that batted under 200 that really was giving you nothing. All right, I don't think we're going to see that Grisham either. Okay, I think you're going to see somewheres in the middle. And who's to say, everybody? Like, let's say that the Yankees just bring back Cody Bellinger, right? And you run it back with the same outfield. Who's to say, you got Dominguez and Spencer Jones still. Who's to say that Jasson Dominguez can't come into camp, right, and beat out Trent Grisham? What if Trent Grisham starts struggling or is struggling? And Dominguez looks like the much better player in camp and spring training and so on and so forth. And then all of a sudden, like you see Dominguez's defense has improved. What if Dominguez, everything clicks? Who's to say the Yankees don't say, you know what? Dominguez, you're getting more playing time. Who's to say Dominguez can't win the job back for himself? I'm just saying, hypothetically, if they have another outfielder and Dominguez right now is the fourth outfielder, who's to say he can't win it back? We'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see on that. Because Dominguez, everybody, is still... How old is he? He's 22? 23 years old? Like, there is still so much room for him to grow. Now, if it's not with the Yankees, so be it. He can help us in a different way. The Yankees acquire someone that comes in and really makes an impact and can help put the Yankees over the top. But until that happens, I really want Jasson Dominguez to be a part of the Yankees and their future and their success. Because they need that. And the clock is ticking because Aaron Judge, how much longer is he going to have years like he just had? And by the way, Aaron Judge has now won his third MVP. Should have been his fourth MVP, but we'll save that for another time. The Yankees have to be more urgent. And they need to build a team around Aaron Judge that can compete with anybody. And unfortunately, 2025, look, he had a very good postseason, but it wasn't enough because nobody else around him helped. So we'll see what the Yankees do. Now, if they go out and they get Fernando Tatis, yeah, then that means Dominguez is gone. And they go and they, if they sign Bellinger, yeah, Dominguez is probably going to end up being gone. But for right now, I would like Dominguez to be a part of this team and be part of the solution. Because I do think that you saw at certain points last year that Dominguez was starting. He has it. It's just he wasn't getting the consistent playing time because of how well Trent Grisham was playing. And Trent Grisham plays a good center field, and Bellinger is amazing no matter where you put him. You're not going to take those guys out. And I think Bellinger got some MVP votes. So it's just there was no spot for Dominguez. Unfortunately, and the other thing too is, unfortunately, and I think I've said this before, I appreciate everything Giancarlo Stanton has done for the Yankees, and he is one of my favorite Yankees. It's just going forward, yes, he's going to be a part of this team. He's not going anywhere, but I just feel like things would be going a lot better. Things would be better going forward if he wasn't a part of the Yankees. Because he doesn't really... He's not a flexible player. He just clogs up one spot, the DH. And that prevents the Yankees from giving guys half days off, and that I don't think nothing is going to happen from that. I mean, Stan, I think has, what does he have? 2 more years left on his deal. So once it's up, they're not going to bring him back. But it's hard having him on the roster because you're stuck. You're hamstrung. You're stuck. You don't have the ability to be more flexible, and that's something that the Yankees want. They want guys that play multiple positions. They want to be able to give guys days off or half days off, like I said, and they can't really do that when you got Stanton in the lineup. Now, Stanton is going to get hurt because that happens, but when he's playing, you don't want to keep him out of the lineup. You got to play him unless he's really, really struggling. Which, that didn't really happen until we got to the playoffs. Because he really didn't hit in the playoffs. Did not have the postseason that he had from 2024. And it's not going to happen all the time. And I want to be clear. Because I said that about Stanton, again, that does not mean that I don't appreciate what he's done for the franchise. I mean... He gave it his all the year before on the World Series run. He did. He's playing hurt. And that kind of set him back, and that's why his 2025 start was delayed. And even going back to 2021, when it was him and Aaron Judge putting the team on their back to get them to the wild card round, and Stanton almost hit 3 home runs in that game. And Stanton's had a lot of big moments. It's just... It's not working. It's not working. But he will be on the team next year. And, if he's healthy, he's going to have those stretches where you can't get him out. But then there's going to be times where he's completely lost, and that happens during October. It's not going to help the Yankees. So... But yeah, it's very interesting. It's going to be an interesting offseason. The Yankees are going to make a ton of moves. I think they're going to revamp their... Well, not I think. We know they're going to revamp their bullpen because they got rid of so many guys. They're in talks with Devin Williams to maybe bring him back, which I'm in favor of. I know I've seen the number, and the years, it does make me pause a little bit, just because he had his ups, but he also had his downs, mostly the down moments, until he did turn it around late in the season, and he was very good in the playoffs. So I do worry about that. But the thing is, he's not going to be the closer. David Bednar is going to be the closer. And David Bednar has years of control left. So he's going to be the setup guy, which I'm okay with. He was good in that role. Then you got to try to fill it out. You brought back Tim Hill, which you guys know how I feel about Tim Hill. Tim Hill is a stud. Gets everybody out, no matter what. Well, in the postseason. There are times in the regular season, but you know what? Everybody has their moments in the regular season. As long as you're good in the postseason, and Tim Hill, ever since he has been a Yankee, he's been great. So yeah, there's moves to be made, and you had this move with Grisham, which again I'm not going to go nuts over. All right, the Yankees could still make moves, people. They'll figure it out. And they also brought back Ryan Yarbrough, which I thought was a smart move because, again, the rotation's not going to be 100% to start the year. Yankees are going to need some guys that eat up innings, and he did a nice job last year when he was healthy. He was pitching very well. Then he unfortunately got hurt. I think he suffered what did he suffer? An oblique injury as well? Because I think Fernando Cruz also same thing. And then he was on the shelf for a while, but then he came back and he pitched some innings for the Yankees down the stretch, and I think in the playoffs too. But I thought that was a good move, bringing him back on a 1-year deal. And the other thing too is I know it's $22 million with Grisham. If he has a bad year, he's gone. That's it. He's not coming back. And the other thing too is everybody was very concerned about the Yankees and how far they're willing to go when it comes to money, because there's, those comments about comments that Hal Steinbrenner made about a $300 million payroll not being sustainable. Constantly having that number, it's not sustainable. So they want to reduce payroll. Well, now Hal Steinbrenner recently spoke with the media, and he said that there's not necessarily a definitive number that the Yankees are going to settle for. Okay? Yes, he would like for there to be, somewhat of a limit. But the Yankees got to go over, they're going to go over. And if Cashman feels that there's a move to be made that's going to put the Yankees at the $300 million mark, the Cohen tax, they're going to make that move. So there's no limitations. There's no limitations. Now, I did see that he's one of those owners that is pushing for like a salary cap, some sort of salary cap with a floor. So, and that's going to be a heavy topic during the next CBA, which, cross your fingers that it doesn't delay baseball, but could be a while. But the Yankees are going to spend. They're going to spend money. And I always, I guess, obviously, as I gotten older, you start to realize things. People say, oh, the Yankees are cheap. The Yankees are not cheap. They're not. What you should be saying is they need to allocate their funds better. They need to spend their money in better ways. They have to be smarter. Or sometimes, or come back down a little bit. Because sometimes you might say they act like they're too smart. They get a little too cute with some of the moves they make. So, we'll see. And Brian Cashman said he's talked to agents of players that the Yankees could acquire. So, let's see how this offseason really plays out. All right. They're gonna do something. They're going to do something. Now, does that mean that they're going to go and win the World Series next year? Listen, I am never going to guarantee a World Series when it comes to the Yankees. Never. All right? When I was younger, I kept saying, oh, yeah, this will be the year they go to the World Series. This will be the year. No, it's not happening. It's not happening. I think this team is in a good spot. I think they're going to be a very good team next year if they make the right moves and the rotation can stay afloat until they get guys back. And then you go and you make moves at the deadline. And this will be a team that's in the postseason because they usually make it. Now, if by some chance they don't, well, then we'll have a different conversation next October. But for right now, I think they're going to make some moves, and they're going to be a good team. But they're going to have some stiff competition because the Blue Jays aren't going anywhere. The Red Sox are going to be a problem. I mean, we'll see what the Rays and the Orioles do, but right now it's Boston and Toronto. That's who you're competing with. I mean, the Rays are competitive every year, but not good enough to make the playoffs. And the Orioles, they were like a one-hit wonder with their core. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, no, I'm excited. But I'm not going to go nuts over Trent Grisham, accepting the qualifying offer. All right, it's not the end of the world. And the other thing too is you have to wait till I think around June to be able to trade him, if anybody would want to trade him. So if he's not having a good year, then who's going to want him? If the Yankees were open to trading him. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything when it comes to the Yankees. Like well, the other thing too is Aaron Judge won his third MVP. He beat out Cal Raleigh for that. The closer we got to the decision, I felt like Judge was going to win it. I think both players are very deserving of it. But look, Judge had better numbers in pretty much every category not named RBIs and home runs. And that's why he won it. He had it, and Cal Raleigh had a great year. And yeah, it's unfortunate, for people that wanted him to win that he didn't get it because he had to deal with Aaron Judge. But you know what? Cal Raleigh next year go out there and hit 70. We'll see. Well, that's not going to happen. But yeah, no, he had a very good year. Especially for a switch hitting catcher. And if he would have won, look, I know again, Yankee Universe would have said Judge was robbed. Again, it's not the end of the world, people. It's not the end of the world. But for Judge, though, and he even said it, he's got something else that he wants to win. And a lot of people want him to win because he deserves it. All he's missing is that World Series championship. And if he goes without winning a ring, it's gonna hurt. Yeah, it's gonna hurt. But there's still time. Time is slowly still slipping away, though. So why I go back to one of my points of gotta show some urgency. Gotta show some urgency. They went out and got Juan Soto a couple years ago. They did go to the World Series. They didn't win it. They got to bring somebody else in that can also help Aaron Judge because some of the guys on the team right now, it's not working. So, yeah. And some other news as well. Josh Naylor signed, I believe it was a 5-year deal with the Mariners, so he stays in Seattle after it seemed like he was out of there. But they bring him back. I thought that was a good move. So we'll see, and we'll see if they. I don't know if they're going to bring back Eugenio Suarez, but maybe they do. Because Seattle, I mean, they were close to getting to the World Series if it wasn't for George Springer's 3-run homer. So they got a good team out there. And then an interesting trade yesterday. So the Mets actually part ways with a player that's been with them forever from their core, and that's Brandon Nimmo. So in an interesting trade, so the Mets send over, or send Brandon Nimmo. They trade him to the Texas Rangers in exchange for Marcus Semien. And Marcus Semien is, I think he's 35 now. So I thought that was an interesting move. Now, Semien last year, I mean, he's a player that his stats have kind of gone down over the years and, helped the Rangers win a World Series back in 2023 where he played all 162 games. But yeah, no, not his best season last year. 230, 305 on base, 364 slugging, 669 OPS. Yeah, only a 3.3 WAR, whereas 2 years ago it was 7.7. But you know what? They bring him over. He still has a good glove. The Mets were not a great defensive team last year, so I guess that does help. But I mean, they're another team. You got to see how the rest of the offseason plays out. The Rangers, they're tearing it down. They're looking to shed payroll. The Mets, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, we talk about the Yankees. I mean, the Mets, Steve Cohen doesn't care. He'll go over whatever luxury tax threshold he has to go over. He doesn't care. So it does open the door for a couple things. One of them is to bring back Pete Alonso, which I've said the Mets need to do that. I'm on that train. He has to stay in that. He could be their DH if he has to later in his career. But also this opens up the possibility of them going out and maybe getting Kyle Tucker or Cody Bellinger to play left field because now they have an opening out there. So, yeah, this was kind of a bit of a head scratcher because it's like that's what it was. That's what you gave up to get Marcus Semien. Now, if you're getting Marcus Semien from his days with the Blue Jays or Marcus Semien from a couple years ago, then yeah. But now it's like, I don't know how. But the thing is, like I said, there's more moves to be made now. So, and like I said, the Mets were not a great defensive team. He helps in that department. So, we'll see. But that was an interesting trade. That was. But if you're a Met fan, you want to make sure they re-sign Pete. So we'll see if they do that. But that is pretty much it on the baseball front. As things occur, we'll make sure to talk about it. I'll make sure to recap the NFL tomorrow after the conclusion of Monday night's game between the 49ers and the Panthers. Got some things in fantasy that I need to happen. Need Brock Purdy to have at least 13 points tonight. I think he should be able to get that. A couple touchdowns, maybe run one in. We'll see. But I hope everybody's doing well. We are approaching Thanksgiving already, which goes fast. So we'll make sure to do picks. I know because we haven't done that. The spread pool has been a disaster since my hot start. I have won 2 games so far this week. The Steelers game, the Steelers cover, and I picked the Rams last night, which that was a beatdown by the Rams over the Buccaneers. So rest assured, though, everybody, I'll have a video out tomorrow recapping the NFL stuff that we missed from the last couple weeks. So with that being said, everybody, that is all the time we have for today. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to follow us on the social media platforms in the description below and wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to look us up, Infinite Sports, and you'll find us there if you want to listen to us. And as always, I'm your host, Kenneth Gruenfelder, signing off. Have a good one, and I will talk to you guys next time. Take care.